1990 saw fighting on the streets of London. This was the year of the poll tax riots. There was fighting too in Sardinia, but the real excitement started when things calmed down.
1990 World Cup, we always remember the good times, remember the Belgium game.
We got a late free kick, 35, 40 yards from goal, and I remember standing up and shouting, ball, you know, get it into the box, just get it in, anything can happen there.
Chip in there, and play! Scored! A fantastic finale!
We were stood there in the pub, and then suddenly for him to turn like he did, and it ended up in the back of the goal. It was just like, I think about 12 pints of lager went everywhere because it was just
unbelievable. You're so unbelievable.
Scotland qualified for the 5th time running, and for the 5th time running came home early.
You're unbelievable.
For Ireland, it was their first ever World Cup. Under Jack Charlton, they beat Romania on penalties. Ireland were through to the quarter-finals. A pint of Guinness cost £1.35.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're leaving Downing Street for the last time after 11 and a half wonderful years.
England had their first #1 since 1970, thanks to New Order and John Barnes.
To do the rap, I was up against Peter Beardsley, Paul Gascoigne and Chris Waddle. Now, if any of those three Geordies could have rapped better than me, I wouldn't have been able to show my face anyway.
Got to hold and give, but do it at the right time. You can be slow or fast, but you must get to the line. They'll always hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them. Get round the back.
England's next opponents were Cameroon, and they gave Schultz a nasty shock.
I remember actually we were coming out of the dressing room, and as we came out, we heard this singing. It got louder and louder, and we suddenly realised it was the Cameroons, and they were singing in the tunnel, and you would have thought they were going to a party, not out to play in a match. And I remember Bob Robson saying, well, come on, lads, we can't let them outdo us. We've got to sing our records, you know, but we couldn't quite do that.
Lineker's chance to make it 2-2. Here he goes. It is 2-2. Gary Lineker. 3-2.
2 Gary Lineker penalties put England in the semis, and a date with fate and West Germany.
I was in Manchester Airport at the time, and as a consequence of watching the match, I missed the plane. Oh, it was crazy. I mean, the bar was just packed. I don't think anyone got a plane probably that night, you know. It was so vital, wasn't it? You know, it was a World Cup semi-final.
I thought Lineker's goal, I really enjoyed Lineker. You know, when they sort of go in off awkward, I like goals like that. So a bit shinny.
Well, I was in Australia with my husband, Tim Healy, and so it was a very different atmosphere than it would have been watching it here. The Australians couldn't quite understand the hoo-ha about it.
As soon as he tackled a guy, he knew he was going to be out of the World Cup final if we got there. You could see it in his eyes and in his face.
I don't know why people make such a thing about it, because it was a grown man crying, because grown men do cry, and I think possibly more about football than any other blooming thing they ever cry about in this world.
I remember the moment, you know, when Lineker's having a word with Robson. That was a good moment, wasn't it?
The guy was upset, you know. He'd dreamt of being in the World Cup final since he was a little boy, and his hopes were dashed, and he cried about it, and he cried openly. I think it was good for a lot of the sort of lads to see somebody with Gaz's kind of laddish reputation doing that.
Not only did he give his feelings out there on the pitch,
it gave the feel to the nation as well. It'll be England's first ever penalty shootout. And what a time for it to come. A place in the World Cup final at stake.
There can't be a better way of crushing someone's life, can there, than getting them to take a penalty and they miss. I mean, that is one way of making the rest of your life misery.
After the match, and even looking back now, I just remembered how clinical the Germans were.
You look at the people who was taking the penalties, and the two people you wouldn't have expected to miss. Missed. Stuart Pearce.
But the Chris Waddle one was the one, where he actually blasted it out of the ground. Apparently went into the car park and then through the window of of a passing sports car and ended up in Dover.
Oh, he's missed it! West Germany go into the final, and England, sadly are out.
You need a bit of luck in football, and England really haven't had it.
Well, I think we used all our luck up in '66, didn't we, against the Germans on our own soil.
I don't know if we have an inferiority complex. I mean, they just have been better than us over the years, you know. They've won more World Cups than we have, even though we won more World Wars.
Well, I knew we'd missed the chance of not getting the final, but the chance of winning the World Cup, because Argentina, you know, were in the final, and we had a score to settle with them, and we were a better team than Argentina.
But it was heartbreaking, I must admit. There was a tear in the eye when we went out there to them. But that's football, innit? You know? At the end of the day, it's only a game.